Hey, this is Adam Yurchik recording for TCGplayer.com. You are joining me for round one of my Lorwyn-Lorwyn-Morningtide flashback draft, and I won the die roll, so I am definitely going to play first. And I have a great hand with some removal spells and a creature, a really good creature, in fact, so I'm definitely going to keep this. I even have Vivid Marsh, which I can use to cast this Oblivion Ring. So this hand's awesome. There's Pepper Smoke, which I can use to draw a card off Torian Mauler, which is a fairy. And wow, so Bogart Sprite Chaser on 2 is insane because I have Torian Mauler on 3, which is a fairy. So this Bogart will become a 2/3 flying. This hand is perfect. And hopefully my opponent can't deal with the Mauler and I'll just run over him. Wise and Sen, I can definitely destroy that with Nameless Inversion, but I'm going to wait a turn. Get the Mauler into play, get in for some damage. Draw Adderstaff Bogart, which is perfectly fine. I can block his Kithkin with it, or if I clear out his creatures, get in for some damage. So he's white-blue. Hopefully this Mauler is safe. And that Pepper Smoke hopefully takes out a small creature. We'll see what happens. Ether Snipe cannot evoke it unless I have 2 blue, which isn't going to happen. But I can hopefully cast it in a few turns. So I'll send the Mauler. If my opponent blocks, I can Pepper Smoke his Sen. Then if he casts Bounce on my Torian, that would be pretty bad. But I think I just take the chance. And then I just play the Bogart. So he just casts a spell right now. Wow, so he just disperses it without blocking. He doesn't want to trade. So that's fine. I'll return it to my hand. Now he blocks. Now I'll just Pepper Smoke his Sen. I don't get to draw a card, but I do get to just kill his awesome creature with it. So that actually works out sweet. And then I can't play the Mauler, but I'll just play the Bogart. And that works out perfectly fine. Mountain. So this is interesting. I want land, yet I don't. I can cast everything I have, and given time, I will draw land. As everyone knows, you get flooded eventually. So there's an argument for just bottoming this card. That said, I could potentially cast 2 spells in a turn if I draw some land, and also this Ether Snipe I'd like to get to. Also, my deck is somewhat top heavy, and I've actually drawn a decent number of my cheap spells already. So my deck is pretty dense with expensive stuff. I'm just going to keep this land. My opponent hit Mosquito Guard, so unfortunately he won the clash. And who knows what he'll do with it. He chose to draw that card. So he'll probably attempt to reinforce with it. I draw that land. And I'll play it. I'll play the Mauler, which pumps up the Bogart, and then I'll attack with it. And I'll definitely attack with the Adder. And I'd love to trade. He doesn't. So he passed back. He has this Balloonist and no creature to give flying to. And he's at 14. And he also has to deal with his Mauler again. So here, I have Firebelly, Changeling, and Nameless Inversion. I could play the Changeling and make sure that the Bogart can't get shrinked again. I think that the best thing I can do is just inversion his creature right here. That way he can't do any tricks and try to beat my Mauler. I think he just wants to block the Mauler and kill it. I think that was his plan. So now I'll also play this Changeling just to keep the Bogart locked in, and I'll attack. And he might have Neck Snap, but it's not going to keep me from attacking here. He does have Neck Snap, so he'll take 4 and we'll pass. So playing the Changeling before attacks was good. Could have just not attacked with the Mauler, but I like keeping the pressure on. There's Vivid Meadow. I could O-ring his guy and attack him for a bunch. Yeah, he's actually going to reinforce onto that, so I should just O-ring his guy. Then if I draw land, I'll either snipe his next play, and that'll be game. So I'll O-ring that, and I have a Changeling I can pump. Attack, pump. Take 6. And I unfortunately misclicked and clicked twice through my land. So I don't get to play the Aether Snipe if I draw land. So that sucks. Don't draw land. I could have, however, evoked the Aether Snipe. I could play the Blackguard before combat to keep the Bogart going. Could have also tapped the Marsh instead of the Mountain, so I don't have to use a counter, though it doesn't matter anymore. Maybe this is better because it tricks him or something. But with this Meadow, I no longer have any need for mana because the 2 splash cards are the Aether Snipe and the Oblivion Ring. So he blocks the Bogart, goes to trade. And he reinforces. I'll pump. Hopefully he doesn't have another bounce. All right. Don't really see anything I want to sideboard. I like the Bogart Birthright. It allows me to get aggressive with Nameless Inversion early. He definitely has a lot of things I want to kill. I think this is good. Nettlevine Blight might be a little slow against him. Kindled Fury could actually be good against his deck. He has some tricks going on. Looks like he's eager to get into combat. On the other hand, he has a Disperse. I'll just go with the Blight. I don't know if his deck's actually that aggressive. And the Blight really does help me grind out my opponent if it comes to that. And blue-white can definitely be a controlling deck. No red here, but I'm going to keep it on the draw. I have Blackguard on 2. I have Winnower, Weed Strangle. And I draw a Mountain, so everything is good. This hand looks great now. He has equipment, but no play. Gonna play Una's Blackguard. And this will give all my rogues a +1/+1 counter. So that applies to this Changeling. It also applies to Moonglove Winnower. And also as a fairy, it's going to make this Bogart Sprite Chaser a flyer. So I'll get down the Changeling. Play a Vivid Meadow. And get in for 1. So his Zephyr does not get +2/+2 in Vigilance and Flying. He equips, so his creature is now a changeling. And I could attack into it next turn with the Fire Belly. And if he takes damage, then he discards a card. So he has to be looking to block here. I could also play the Winnower, but if I have to pump, then I could play another creature I have, the Sprite Chaser or the Bogart. I definitely don't want to pump twice. That would only happen if he reinforced, but he would not do that, in which case it would be a fine trade for me and I don't need to play something this turn. So I'll just attack, pump, probably trade, and then play the Sprite Chaser. There's also an argument for not trading and sitting around, and hopefully he moves that Stalactite and I could get more value out of Final Revel. So he just takes it. So I don't pump. He's going to discard a card, and I just play the Winnower. So this is obviously best of all worlds. Play the Winnower. That's a sweet blocker for anything he's going on. I could have also played the Bogart and the Sprite Chaser there. 2 plays. It's possible that was correct, especially with the Final Revels. But I think playing the Moonglove and locking in that +1/+1 counter and having that threat to make him discard is better. And also the fact that he has the creatures that could shut us down. And the Winnower is actually pretty aggressive because it can attack into anything. So he did reveal something, but it just means we take damage. It doesn't really matter. We do draw a land, so we can cast Weed Strangle. I think we just kill his 3/3 and attack. He'll probably trade his Kithkin for the Changeling. He'll take 4 and discard a card, and we'll be in good shape. We could probably use the Revels to put immense pressure on him next turn. I could also just attack and then play both my creatures, because I'd like to keep this Weed Strangle for a better creature in case he has one. And he can't kill the 3/4. I'd be fine trading the Fire Belly for it. So yeah, let's just attack. Let's play conservatively, not waste my removal spell. He disperses my creature. And yeah, with something like that, I would rather not destroy his creature and give myself the opportunity to deploy more. So I like the way that this worked out. He just blocks. Sure, we trade. And I'm just going to get the Winnower back into play. There's an argument for killing it, because if he gets lucky and reveals a bunch of Kithkin, he could just kill me. But I think that saving the Strangle for a creature that I really care about makes sense. So he does reveal one again. And I'm taking another 5, so I'm down to 10. Oh, he has the Stalactite, so any creature he reveals makes it +2/+2. That's pretty awesome. I see what's going on. Hopefully he chumps with Meadow Boon. I'll just attack, and hopefully he chumps. If he double blocks, that'd be awesome. I'd trade for both. He just takes it. So he discards again. And I'll just kill his creature, and I might even gain life for it. This way I can't die. And if he does have a better creature, I can kill it with the Nettlevine Blight that I just drew. Wings of Velas Veil. So yeah, I would No, I would have not have died unless he has something else. Hornet Harasser, I think, is no good here. I want to hit Nettlevine Blight. Or I just want to play the 2 creatures in my hand. So I'll bottom that. And I assume he'll bottom the wings. He puts it on top, okay. Alright, pass it back. He plays a Wispmare. Alright, so I hit the Nettlevine Blight. And at the end of his turn, I could put it on a permanent. At the end of his turn, he sacks it. And then he has to put it on another permanent he controls. So he just played Wispmare. He wishes he would have saved that. I think the best thing for me to do is get the Nettlevine into play immediately and just start whittling down his permanents. So the first order of business, attack. This will get rid of his last card. Or force a double block and a double trade, which would be perfect. So he takes it, discards his last card. So the blackguard's been doing serious work. He discards that wings, which he clearly should not have kept. And I'll just start grinding him down. I'll put it on the Wispmare, his flyer, because of my Blackguard and the Sprite Chaser. Those are a nice tag team that can kill him with the Moonglove on defense. I don't want to kill the Meadow Boon, and then he sacks it and pumps his creature he draws his turn along with the Wispmare, and then the Wispmare turns off my Blackguard and the Sprite Chaser. But he's pretty low on resources. So this Nettlevine should be awesome against him. I take a little damage. He plays his card. He doesn't. He equips the Stalactite there. He probably missed. Should have just put that on his creature and dealt another damage, I suppose. Because he can't block. Alright, so I'll get in. And then just play my 2 creatures. The Bogart lets him clash, gives him access to a card. So in theory, I could not play it and give him less outs if I think he had an out, but I don't think he really has outs. And if I think that putting another threat on the board, especially with Final Revels, is going to outweigh any potential card he could draw. And this Pepper Smoke is ideal. Just shrinks his team a little bit, and I can cast it next turn, and it'll cycle. So definitely want that. He hits a land that he'll bottom. So he did basically get to draw a card there. So there was a real cost. And he doesn't find an out, and I win. So that was awesome. Thank you for watching, and please join me for round 2.